Hello, hello, hello. This is Nadda Adamjee, and welcome to today's live. Today, we talk about a subject that is very important for every business because it's something that affects us, it's something that um, we all aspire to sell or create, especially in this online digital world. So today we talk about building irresistible offer for your ICA, your ideal customer avatar, in case you're not familiar with that term. Um, the thing is that what do you call an offer? That's the first question. So an offer is anything that you are promoting, whether it's paid or not is not even the point. It's up to you whether you sell something or you just promote it because it's free. But anything you're promoting, product, service, paid or free, is an offer. Okay. Hi, good to see you. Um, and by the way, if you give StreamYard permission, then I can see your name. Otherwise, I only see Facebook user and I don't really see it unless I go on literally unless I go in my Facebook group and then check it from there. So that's the thing. So I would appreciate it if you could just give StreamYard permission. It doesn't really save any information. So anyway. So those of you who are live, hello, hello, and thank you for joining me live. Do say hashtag live so that it's in the record. And also for those who watch it later, hashtag replay. So again, so I know that, who watched it. So as I was saying, today we are talking about building an irresistible offer for your customer. And an offer is anything that you're promoting, whether it's free or it's paid. That's a separate matter. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, where to start and like how to build an offer? So offers don't really exist in vacuum. So you have to always look at the bigger picture of who your customer is, the bigger picture of like what are you trying to achieve, right? So if you are trying to basically get your customer from point A to point B, I've talked about this a few times in the previous videos. If you haven't seen it, go and check them out. They're in the unit section in the Facebook group. So what happens is that we as digital creators, or even just course creators or coaches or teachers, or any product seller, you are always promoting your product to your ICA as you, by using it or by getting it, they'll get from point A to point B. Okay. So whether it's a transformation from A to B, whether it's something that they will learn, whether it's like a huge transformation or a small transformation, that's obviously, it depends on you, it depends on your product and what you're trying to do. So an offer, whether it's free or paid, it doesn't exist in vacuum. You always look at the bigger picture, and in that bigger picture, you think about this customer journey. Point A to point B is the customer journey. And in between these 2 points, there's always these milestones, right? So the milestones can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different steps they have to do, or 10 different steps they have to do. And if they, so in that case, what happens is like you have to decide what are those milestone steps that they have to take to get that transformation, basically, right? So whether they're 3 steps, whether they're 5 steps, whether they're 10 steps, that you have to decide. I think if you're new, it's always easier to start with 3 milestone steps to get from point A to point B. It just keeps it simple. And those milestone steps, these are like milestones, right? So milestones, to achieve 1 milestone, you have to have at least 5, 6 steps within that to get to that milestone. So think of it like that. So to get from A to B, your customer would have to, let's say, complete 3 milestones. To complete each milestone, they would have to, let's say, do another 5 steps to get to that milestone, right? So what are those steps? You have to figure that out. And it's always nice to just take a pencil and paper and just draw it out and just brainstorm, brain dump, put whatever you have in your head, put it out down there, because you have to understand that the customer is not that easy to understand. The customer, you have to think, but you have to always think like the customer, because it's not really about you, it's always about the customer, right? So one thing that the customer wants is always to know what's in it for them. What are they getting out of this? Why should they buy this? Why? Like, what's the benefit they get? What's the transformation they get? What is the feeling, the emotions they will get or feel when they use this thing, or when they try this thing, or when they finish, complete this thing, whatever this thing is. So you have to show them, and you can't just tell them, because telling is, everybody tells them all sorts of things. Think of yourself as a customer as well, because you're getting bombarded from everywhere about do this, try this is the best, this is, you need this. So we as customers are like, now we don't hear things, right? We just ignore it. So in order to penetrate your customer's mind, you have to think like them. You have to appeal to their emotions. You have to basically tell them and show them that this is the transformation they will get and how they will get it. Okay. So one of the easy ways to look at it is that when you make an offer, like I said, from point A to point B, you've got these 3 milestones. And then within those milestones, you've got these 5 steps. So your offer, if it's like a lead magnet, or if you don't know what a lead magnet is, hi, I have people coming in, but I cannot see your names. I only see Facebook user, because unless you give StreamYard permission, I'm sorry, I cannot see your name unless I go into the group. So I'm going to go into the group and just see who's watching, and because I really have no idea who's watching. So okay, so I can see I can see the names now. So good to see you guys. Anyway, so if you give StreamYard permission, then I can see your names in the live section. Anyway, so as I was saying, from point A to point B, you've got multiple milestones. Then you've got steps inside those milestones. When you're giving a free lead magnet, any one of those little steps can be a freebie. It can be a lead magnet. But when it's a paid thing, then you should think about the value and the benefit and the transformation your customer will get as soon as they use this or they're done using it. So it's not just getting from point A to point B, it's about that milestone in the middle that they're going to achieve. Because remember, if you've got 10 customers, let's say, or 100 customers, or 500 customers, or 1,000 customers, doesn't matter. If you've got a customer, every customer is never on the same path or same stage of their journey, right? Everybody's at a different stage. So from point A to point B, yeah, it's easy to say it's point A to point B, but in between, there are lots of steps and lots of milestones. So who is where, right? So you got to think again from the customer's perspective. The customer could be completely newbie, so they haven't even got to the first milestone. So they are just like at the starting point, which is A, and they have no idea, and they're completely lost, and they're at point A. And point B is, let's say, when they are successful, they've got their transformation, the feeling that they get, that's point B. So if you're a newbie, you are still at A. If you have been doing business, you might be somewhere like, somewhere in the middle of that line, or you might be at another, you might be, 3/4 of the way done. And so you don't need what that first customer needs, who is literally at point A. They have no idea what the hell they're talking about or doing. They're overwhelmed. So their wants and needs are different to the third customer, right? So you have to always think that your customer's journey is what you think that they need. So these are all these steps. But then what do they want? What does the customer really want? Because there's one thing, me saying that, okay, I know the customer needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different things, but the customer probably isn't even aware of it, right? The customer is probably thinking that I want this right now because I need this right now, because they're working on something, or they're going to a function, or they're working on something and they need something that's relevant at that moment for them, right? So for them, that's all they want at that point. They don't care about your step 1 and step 5 and step 10. They just want number 7 because that's what they want right now. So you can't go to them and say, okay, I've got number 1. Who wants number 1? This is my offer. I'm going to give you this offer. They don't care about that. They want number 7, but they don't know that it's number 7 on your sequence list. They just want that offer for themselves, and they're going to go with whoever can supply that to them. Okay, whoever can get to them first, and whoever can can understand their pain point at that moment, the reason why they're looking for that thing, why do they want it. Whoever can really get into the mind of the customer will grab that customer's attention, because that person who wants that thing at that moment is going to be like, oh my god, they understand what I'm looking for, and this is my person, this is my girl, I'm going to buy from her, and that's it. And that's how you grab the customer's attention. You have to be where the customer is. You cannot be selling a customer something that they are not even aware they need. Back in the day, we were told in marketing that you have to educate the customer. Yes, but every customer is not ready for education. A lot of customers don't even know they need something, and they want something. They are not aware. They just know when they know. And it's not right to be educating the customer when the customer is not open to that idea. So you have to wait for the customer to be ready to learn. Okay, so that's another lesson, another tip that I think most people do not talk about. It's very important to understand that. As marketers, we can only inform, we can only educate those who are willing to learn. But we cannot go and start educating the ones who don't even realize that there is a requirement or there's a need, right? And also remember that when you have an offer and your offer is, let's say, free, you attract a certain kind of demographic, you attract a certain kind of ICA. Those are ICAs that are seeking freebies. And they are not necessarily there, and they will not necessarily become paying customers even afterwards, right? So you have to be very careful where and how you use the term free, because that's also a positioning thing. So you have to understand from the brand strategy angle that where do you see yourself, where do you see your brand, where do you want to be, what kind of clients do you want to attract, do you want to chase the clients, or do you want clients to come to you? So there are different strategies for different things. So that's the other thing. Okay, so moving on, I talked about customer journey already, so I'm not going to go deeper into that. I also talked about that wants and needs are different, right? So wants are something that we desire, we want, right? And needs are the basic human needs are only 3 things, and those are food, shelter, clothing. Okay, so anything other than food, shelter, and clothing is not really a need. But in this culture of consumerism, we have been conditioned to believe that we need this and we need that, when that's really not true. So again, as marketers, we know that, but general public uses the term wants and needs kind of the same way. Okay, but they're not the same thing. So again, if I am, as a seller, is selling something to my customer, it's not about what my customer needs, it's what my customer wants. So there's a difference, and you need to understand the difference. The customer doesn't really care about the needs, because that's customer language. They don't even know the difference most of the time. But as seller, you do not sell something as a need. You sell something as a want, and you make it desirable because they want it so bad. Okay. Um, Now, the other thing I needed to talk about was the customer words. Okay, this is a copywriting thing, and I'm not a copywriting expert, but I've done enough training and all that and selling to know that the most important thing in basically marketing and brand promotion is the copywriting. Okay, it's one of the most important things, and the other thing is presenting. So in copy, you always use the customer words. Okay, so what are those? Like I said before, in the initially, that customers, you have to get in the customer's mind. So why are we getting into the customer's mind? We need to understand how they think, how they feel, their emotions, their pains, their like struggles, so that we can phrase things the way they would use them, the way they would call out what pains, whatever, like, emotions they're feeling. We want to use those words so that it clicks in the customer's head, right? If I use like my own, like, I'll give you an example of my my like some, even when you note stuff, you still make mistakes. That's the thing, that we are human, right? So we still make mistakes, and we still do that. So the first digital product that I promoted, as it was a freebie, and it was called Time Optimizer. I thought it was amazingly named. I thought it was fantastic, Time Optimizer, because that's exactly what it did, right? It optimized your time. It made you understand how not to get overwhelmed, how to basically plan your day, plan your week, know how much time you're spending where. Okay, so that's what it was called, and I worked on it, and I created it, and I loved it because it was something that I used myself. So I was really, really happy with the name, that, oh my goodness, I have a great name. It's only when I spoke to one of my mentors at the time, and she told me, I've mentioned this story before once as well. And she told me, the second she looked at it, she was like, what is Time Optimizer? So I tried to explain it to her, and I said exactly what I just told you guys. And I was like, it optimizes your time. It's like a system that I have. It's a 3-step system. She's like, but what does it do? I was like, well, you don't get overwhelmed. You sort of have a more planned, structured like idea of where your time is going, so you can be more efficient with it. So she's like, okay, so it beats overwhelm. I was like, yeah. She said, so just say that. So when you are using that type of simple language that any other person, because Time Optimizer doesn't tell you anything, right? It's Time Optimizer. Okay, cool. But what the hell is it? It's a PDF. So like, it's not, there's nothing grabbing me or grabbing the customer towards that, right? Why would they get it? Like, what's in it for them? So what's in it for them is the question that you need to ask every time you create an offer. Why would they get this? The reason. So when I started framing that and putting that freebie, my freebie, Time Optimizer, online, I didn't promote it as a time optimizer. I promoted it as something to beat overwhelm, so that you never get overwhelmed. I don't remember the exact line for it, but something to beat overwhelm. And everybody wants to beat overwhelm, because look at the world we live in. Look at the amount of work we do and stuff we do, and we're always online, and everybody's overwhelmed half the time. So, that's what we want to learn. So anyway, so that was just a story, just to make you understand how and why using the customer's words are very important. Making your own words or what you think the customer will use is not good enough. You can Google words or terms that a customer is using. You can even actually, Google is a great tool for that. Also, if hanging around in different Facebook groups where your target market hangs out, you can pick up things. They will be usually posting stuff about certain things that they're having problems with, or whatever your niche is. And you can screenshot, and you can, mark, like, copy those words that they're using and use that in your text when you're promoting something, because that is how the customer connects and feels like, oh my God, this person knows what I want. Like, they understand me. How did they know that? Like, that kind of stuff. So you want that. So that was about the words that I wanted to really talk about, because it's important to understand that. And by the way, this is for any product, any business, any niche. It's not to do with digital products. It's to do with any products, physical or otherwise. Marketing, as you know, is for any business, any industry. It's not, and same is with branding. Branding is the first thing anybody needs to stand out. Okay, if you don't have your branding right, and branding is not just the brand identity, which is color, fonts, and logo. I say this all the time, and I still get questions about it, and it's one of my pet peeves that people think branding is just those three things. Branding is so much more. Okay, so anyway, like I mentioned before, you always show the customer the offer. And when I say show, it's like the transformation that they get, the tangibles that they get. Tangible as in, what are they actually buying? Like, what are you offering? If you just talk about it, they really don't care. But if you show them through images, through mock-ups, through shoots, through like whatever it is, this is why presentation really matters. It's not just about, creating a landing page and putting a sales page out there and good copy. You have to have good images that go with it. And you can create great images on Canva. There's, as long as you have, you put in that time and create those graphics, those are the things that sell. Okay, those are the things that grab attention. Half the time, you don't even have to create the offer. You can actually create the graphics and start promoting that. And if you get a response, that's when you can actually go and really create your offer and finalize it. Because why spend time on something that unless people are interested in it? That's when you spend time on it and you make sure you deliver, right? I even know people who don't create offers unless somebody has bought it. They start putting ads out there, and when one or two people buy it, that's when they say, okay, our offer is basically a valid option. And if they have the offer ready, which most of the time they don't, they refund the money, and then they start working on the product. And then they advertise after that, and so on and so forth. So, that's a way of going about it as well. I am a bit of a doer, so I like to have something in hand before I start promoting it. But a lot of people don't. I've learned that, okay, I don't have to have 100% ready to do that. You can just have like a 50-50 kind of done, and then start promoting it and work on it on the side kind of thing. You don't have to have it perfect and ready, because that's another thing that I've learned over the last year, that start before you're ready. This is completely out of my comfort zone, because I've always been a very prepared and planned and prepared kind of person. But when you start before you're ready, that's when there's room to learn and room to grow and change your course, because you don't want to put in so much work and then realize, oh, I'm on the wrong track. I need to completely pivot or change. When you're like, let's say 80% done or 70% done, and then you start, when you're not ready, you're kind of vulnerable. So you're sort of willing to learn and get ideas. So that's how I see it. And I think that's done me good. Okay. So moving on, like I said, presentation matters. And, in college, one of my teachers once used to always say, she said that show, don't tell. So the whole point is that when presentation matters, it is because you are showing them, you're not just telling them. It's not just words. It's the images, it's the graphics, it's the video, it's whatever it is. But it's something they need to see what tangibles they're getting out, what results are they getting out of your product, your offer, your service, whatever that is. Okay, even if it's a tiny freebie, still, what result will that tiny freebie give them? Okay, so another thing I wanted to say was that when you're creating an offer, Again, think of it like if you're a customer. um, everybody wants a bargain, obviously. Everybody, that's why sales are such a huge thing. But another thing that we all get attracted to is our bundles, right? So if you have like an offer that combines 4 or 5 different things, um, then the customer feels that they're getting basically more value for the price, right? So again, it's perceived value. It's what the customer thinks they're getting. um, and it doesn't have to be like something extravagant. It can be something small. It can be lots of small things. Like, for example, if you go on sites like what's the not Etsy, but the other one, Creative something. I'll have to Google it, I think. Um, they have like all these bundles, like, even on Etsy, you have like um, these templates, let's say for Facebook templates or social media templates or whatnot. And then they have bundles of that sometimes from different sellers. And same thing nowadays, that you buy this and then you get, 2 extra things with that. And the perceived value of that is obviously, in the customer's eye, it's a lot, because they're just paying the value of one and they're getting 2 free. That's what they think, because that's how it's been framed for them, right? So that's where framing and messaging and the images, graphics matter so much. Okay, so now, since we're already like about 26 minutes and my son's getting restless, he's here. Come here, say hi.
No.
No? Okay. No, I'm live now. Shh.
No, I have to.
Oh my goodness. Okay, just wait 1 second, and then you can tell me. Okay, so um, I lost my train of thought. Okay, anyway, so just when I'm gonna like sign off, but I wanted to say, those of you who have not booked a call with me yet, I have a free game plan call option for group members, just this group member. Okay, I usually charge for my strategy calls. That's a paid thing. It's never free, but for this group, I have a free game plan call. It'll just be 15-20 minutes. We'll see how it goes, and it's not a sales call for me. It's I don't like to sell. That's not me. For me, it's about helping people. And since you're in this group, I know that you will benefit from it, because obviously branding and selling and all that is part of business, right? So if you want to figure out what your focus should be, because let me tell you, online digital marketing, selling, digital world, since especially 2020, and when people who weren't even online before have sort of pivoted and shifted, it's a very tough place to be. And you have to stand out from the crowd. Otherwise, you're going to be lost, because you'll be part of the noise. If you're not standing out from the crowd, you are part of the noise. Just think of it like that, and it's a fact. Okay, so book a call, because I want to know where you're at right now. I want to know what your goals are for yourself, for your business. Where do you see yourself in 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is? And what's your goal for 2021? What do you want to achieve? And let's see how I can help you get there. And so I'm going to just put a ticker down here, which is well, it's not really a ticker, it's just there. So that's the link. I'll drop it in the comments as well. And then the other thing you need to know is, it's basically very simple. It's nadda.youcanbook.me. And the other thing I want to show you is that 11 a.m. every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Toronto time, which is EST, that's when I go live in this group every week. And I love doing it. So any topic you want to talk about, or you want me to talk about, is, tell me, hit me in the comments, DM me, whatever you need to do. As you can see, my son is getting super restless, so I gotta go. And I will drop the link in the comments so you don't miss it. All right, take care. Bye.